Right now, while you're watching this, somewhere a notification is trying to steal your attention. And in about 11 seconds, you're going to feel the pull to check it. That's not a character flaw. That's the world we built. A world engineered, deliberately, to fragment your focus into smaller and smaller pieces. But here's the part almost nobody tells you. While everyone else is losing the ability to focus, the people who can still do it deeply, for hours, without flinching, are becoming rare. And rare is powerful. Deep work isn't a productivity hack anymore. It's becoming a superpower. And today, I'm going to show you how to build it. Think about your average day. You sit down to write a report, and within 4 minutes, that's the average by the way, 4 minutes, you check your phone. Not because something urgent happened, because your brain has been trained to expect a reward every few minutes, and silence now feels like a threat. You tell yourself you're multitasking. But multitasking is a myth. What you're actually doing is task switching, slamming the brakes on one thought and hitting the gas on another, dozens of times an hour. And every switch leaves a little residue behind. Attention residue, researchers call it. Part of your mind stays stuck on the last thing, even as you try to move to the next. So you end the day exhausted, but strangely unproductive. You were busy every minute. You accomplished almost nothing that mattered. That gap between busy and meaningful is where most of us live now. And it's not because we're lazy or undisciplined. It's because we've lost access to a mental state our ancestors used constantly, and our culture has quietly made almost extinct. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task for an extended stretch of time. Not 15 minutes. Not let me just check this first. 90 minutes. 2 hours. Sometimes 4. It's the state where a musician composes something that didn't exist an hour ago. Where a founder solves the problem that's been stuck for weeks. Where a writer produces the paragraph that actually says what they meant. It's not magic, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, or it can waste away. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people's capacity for deep work is already shrinking. Not because they got dumber. Because they stopped practicing it. Just like a muscle you stop using, the mental muscle for sustained focus weakens every time you let it get interrupted and don't push back. And that's exactly why deep work is turning into a superpower. Not because it's flashy. Because almost nobody else has it anymore. Let's be honest about how hard this actually is. Your phone is not neutral. It was designed by extremely smart people, funded by extremely large companies, whose entire business model depends on interrupting you as often as possible. Every app on your home screen is fighting for the same 8 hours of attention you have each day. And it's not just your phone. It's open plan offices. It's the culture of always available. It's the guilt you feel when you don't reply within an hour. Somewhere along the way, being reachable at all times got mistaken for being valuable at all times. They are not the same thing. So when you try to sit down and focus, you're not fighting a small habit. You're fighting billions of dollars of engineering, decades of cultural pressure, and a brain that has been slowly rewired to crave interruption. No wonder it feels hard. It is hard. But that's exactly what makes it valuable, because most people quit at this exact point. There's also a quieter reason it's hard, one we don't talk about enough. Boredom has become almost unbearable. The second a task gets slightly difficult or slightly dull, most of us now reach for stimulation before we even notice we're reaching. That reflex used to take real effort to build. Now it happens in under a second, automatically, thousands of times a week. Rebuilding your tolerance for that in-between discomfort, the point right before focus kicks in, is half the battle. Here's the principle that changes everything once you really understand it. In a world flooded with shallow, fragmented attention, deep, focused attention becomes economically and personally rare. And whatever is rare and valuable becomes powerful. Think about it this way. 10 people can answer 100 emails today. Almost no one can produce 4 focused hours on the one problem that actually moves the needle. The email answering skill is common, so it's cheap. The focus skill is rare, so it's expensive in every sense. Better output, better ideas, better pay, better peace of mind. You don't need to out-hustle anyone, you need to outfocus almost everyone. That bar right now is lower than it's ever been, because almost nobody is even trying to clear it. So how do you actually build this? Not with willpower alone. Willpower is a limited resource and it runs out by afternoon. You build it with structure. 4 shifts that together rebuild the muscle. First, schedule deep work like it's a meeting with your most important client. Because it is. Block 90 minutes on your calendar, every day if you can, same time if possible. Vague intentions like "I'll focus more" almost never survive contact with a normal day. A specific block on a specific day does. Second, make distraction physically harder to reach than focus. Phone in another room. Notifications off, not just silenced. Website blockers if you need them. You are not weak for needing this. You are simply refusing to compete against software engineered by teams of specialists on their terms. Third, build a ritual that signals to your brain, "We're going deep now." The same playlist, the same drink, the same 5 minutes of quiet before you start. Rituals aren't superstition, they're a shortcut that tells your nervous system it's time to shift gears, so you spend less energy transitioning and more energy focusing. And fourth, train in small doses before you demand marathons. If you can currently focus for 12 minutes before your mind wanders, don't force 90. Start with 25, then 35, then 50. The muscle grows the same way any muscle grows, through consistent, slightly uncomfortable repetition, not through one heroic all-nighter. None of these steps require talent, they require repetition. And repetition over weeks is how a fragmented mind slowly becomes a focused one again. One more thing worth saying honestly, you will fail at this some days. You'll sit down, and your mind will still wander after 8 minutes. That's not proof the method doesn't work. That's just what rebuilding a weak muscle feels like before it's strong. The goal isn't a perfect streak. The goal is showing up for the next block anyway, especially on the days it feels pointless, because those are usually the days the muscle grows the most. Picture this version of your life 6 months from now. You sit down, and instead of white-knuckling through the urge to check your phone, the urge barely shows up, because you've trained your brain to expect long, uninterrupted stretches again. The work you produce in those focused hours doesn't just look different, it feels different to make. There's a quiet satisfaction in finishing something you actually thought carefully about, instead of something you rush between notifications. And the strange thing is, this quiet, sustained focus starts to feel less like a technique and more like a form of freedom. Freedom from the ping. Freedom from the scatter. Freedom to actually finish what you start. That's the superpower. Not speed. Not hustle. The simple, increasingly rare ability to give one thing your full, undivided mind, for as long as it takes to matter. If even one part of this hit home, try this today, pick one 90-minute block tomorrow. Put the phone in another room. Do the one thing that actually matters. That's it. That's the whole first step. If this helped you see focus differently, subscribe. I make videos like this every week for people who are done living fragmented and ready to build something that lasts. See you in the next one.